I have tried a lot of lip tints in the past year, and I'm not gonna lie, they're all very similar and it's difficult to choose which one you should buy. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you the best and worst aspects between each lip tint. I'll also let you know how you can get a discount on them, and then you can decide for yourself if they are worth purchasing according to your budget, your preferences, and what you already have. As a benchmark, I'm gonna start with the most viral K-beauty lip tint, the Rom&nd Juicy Lasting Tints. I do think most people have already tried this already, or you already own this, so I'm going to use this to compare with everything else. But if you don't already have this, I would say that this is the safest one to try for beginners, because if you like this, you probably like lip tints in general. This formula is very gel-like, so think an in-between a lip gloss and a lip oil. It has a nice plushy sheen. It kind of feels like a balm on the lips. I will say there have been some controversy and rumors about drying out people's lips, so keep that in mind. I don't have all of the details on that. Definitely do your research. For me personally, I've had no issue with this formula drying out my lips. I will say it's very comfortable, and it would be best if you want more saturated colors. You want something that gives you a slight sheen on your lips but will leave a long-lasting stain as well. So if you do want a deep dive on the Rom&nd Juicy Lasting Tints, you want to know which color maybe is best for you, I have an entire video I will link in the cards if you want to dive into it a little bit further. Now, the worst aspect of this lip stain is that most of the colors in terms of the stain leaves a very red, orange, saturated, vibrant tint. So if you prefer something a little bit more muted, a little bit more subtle, then I would avoid this, because there are better options out there. Even when I look at the Rom&nd color chart, there isn't a lot of options if you are in that deep, dark autumn season. So keep that in mind. That is my skin tone. I have a medium to tan neutral olive, and I would, if I had to guess, say that I am in the autumn color season. Now, if you have a similar skin tone to me or a similar color season to me, and you want lip tints that are a little bit more muted, or at least more on the brown side of things rather than red or hot pink, then I would recommend the brand Laka. These lip tints smell so fruity, so delicious. They smell like a Jolly Rancher is the best way I would compare it, and they have a lot more color options that are more flattering for the dark, deep autumn seasons. In terms of formula, I would consider this to be very similar to Rom&nd, but maybe slightly thinner, almost oil-like in terms of finish. If you are someone who loves a brown, warm autumn lip tint, then I would say this is best for you, especially if you have medium to tan skin tones like I do, but they still have those typical trendy colors like coral or pink or berry. The worst aspect of this product for some people might be the scent. So if you are very sensitive to the fruity Jolly Rancher scent, I would definitely avoid this. Another very popular lip tint like Rom&nd is from Colorgram. I do think part of the popularity is the packaging itself, because it has this bubble-like cap, but in terms of the formula, I find it similar to Rom&nd but slightly creamier. So think gel texture but creamier with a little bit more thickness to it. This also doesn't really have a scent to it. It just kind of smells like subtle chemicals. Nothing strong, but nothing subtle either. Just to compare all three of these scents, the Rom&nd Juicy Lasting Tints smells like Laka, but more subtle. It's not strong. Like, you can't really smell it on your lips unless you put your nose to the applicator. Colorgram doesn't really have a scent to it at all. I don't smell fruitiness. I don't smell floral. You know, the typical scents you would usually get in lip products. It kind of just smells like chemicals, but not in a way that is off-putting. Again, you won't be able to smell it unless you put your nose to the applicator. And the Laka one is the most fruity, Jolly Rancher strong scent you will get. So out of all three of these, I think the Colorgram one is the most quote-unquote unscented. Also, it's best if you want a more fragrance-free lip tint and very cute packaging, but I would say it's worse for just the color range in general. The color range is very selective. They do release, you know, new shades here and there that are limited edition, but in comparison to the Rom&nd color selection, Laka color selection, and some of the other lip tints I'm going to share with you today, Colorgram doesn't have the biggest selection, and they're usually always sold out. You will be able to buy all of the lip tints I'm talking about on yesstyle.com, which is the sponsor of today's video. Yesstyle is currently running a Black Friday mega sale all throughout the month of November, and this is going to include over 200 best-selling brands. If you do decide to purchase anything I talk about in today's video, you can use my code BF15L to get 15% off of your order. This expires 72 hours from today. If you are watching this later, you can instead use the code LCHU12 to get 12% off of orders $59 or more. Keep in mind, these codes do not include products labeled beauty gems. This was the year that I committed to trying more Asian beauty products. I am so glad that I did, because I personally think that a lot of them are at a better price, and on top of that, during Black Friday you can get a discount. I have other favorites aside from lip tint, so I decided that I was going to do a best of list. I'm going to link that down below of all of my favorite Asian skincare, hair care, beauty products, in case you're curious about the top Asian beauty products that I tried this year. Moving on to the best lip tint in terms of high quality packaging, it is Peripera. This is in glass, lightweight glass, in comparison to all the other ones that are in plastic. In terms of formula, again, it's very similar to the other ones, but this is a slightly kind of tackier gel-like texture. It has more of that oil finish rather than a gel finish. So for me, this is actually a more oil, glowier finish in comparison to Rom&nd. So if you want something with more of that reflective shine, Peripera. And the worst aspect of the Peripera is that there is a limited shade range, so there's not too many options to choose from, and the shades that are available, the stain is not super pigmented. It doesn't really show up as well as the other ones that I shared with you, but I do think that's because a lot of the options available with Peripera are more muted color options. So it is kind of a give and take. Keep in mind, I also have pigmented lips, so the shade that I have right now might not show up that well on my lips. So if you do want a lip stain that is more vibrant, definitely go with the others over the Peripera. Next up is Wakemake. Now at first I really loved this because of the color. I have the shade in 07 Fig Filling, and the initial color is this really beautiful subtle mauve, but unfortunately it's one of those things where it does oxidize more red. So the worst aspect of this lip tint is that it catfishes you. You think it's gonna be one color, it ends up being another color. It has a creamy gel texture, so slightly more plushier than the Rom&nd, and I would consider it to be slightly tackier than the Rom&nd in terms of finish. I forgot to mention the Peripera scent smells kind of like vanilla. It's not off-putting, can't really smell anything at all. It doesn't smell like chemicals. The Wakemake does smell like chemicals, but overall I do think the stain is pretty weak. It's not that long lasting, and the initial gloss color also oxidizes. The shine fades a lot quicker, so it's not really my favorite unless there's a really specific color you really like or want. I also think that the packaging is so adorable, especially in comparison to all these other ones. This packaging does stand out. It's a little bit more futuristic. Now all the previous lip tints I just shared with you are so similar in terms of this gel-like texture that I can't tell the difference between them that well, especially if you were to swatch them all on my hand and I had to figure out which was which. I wouldn't be able to, except the Etude lip tint. This one definitely has a more unique selling point compared to all of the other ones. It is called their Over Glowy lip tint for good reason, because it is the most glowiest lip tint of all of these. So if you really want a more glossy, shiny lip texture that leaves a tint. But because it's glowy, it does have a slightly tackier texture. But it's not thick like a lip gloss or anything like that, so I don't think it's going to turn you off. You can't really feel the tackiness too much unless you were to like put your fingers on it. It will probably like stick to your hair. The best way I would describe it is like a thick, tacky oil texture. The more I'm pressing on it, you would think the shine goes away, but nope, it still leaves a gorgeous shine. But I do think it's worse in terms of staining power. It's not really that strong because I do think the gloss, the wetness overpowers the actual stain. So if you want a stain, go with the others. But if you want something that's more gloss-like without being too sticky and still leaves like a slight color to your lips, E2. Now we're going to move on to all of the water tints that I've tried. These are similar to the Rom&nd gel tint, but it's just going to be a much thinner texture. So the shine is not going to be as long lasting, but it is going to leave a stronger stain on your lips. Usually it depends on the brand. For example, the Rom&nd water tint, this has a much stronger long lasting stain than the Rom&nd juicy lasting tint. It has a slight shine to it, but that shine fades very quickly, and it has a very subtle kind of fruity mix with floral scent, but again, you can't really tell once it's on your lips unless you're putting your nose to the applicator. I would say the Rom&nd water tint is best if you want an opaque, long-lasting tint, but it's worse if you want something that's going to give you really plush, plump, juicy lips. This is not the one. Now, the opposite of what I just said is actually the Peripera Water Bear tint. This, in theory, is supposed to, have a better stain, but it's actually a more subtle water tint. So again, it has that really thin texture with a slight sheen that fades quickly, but the stain also isn't that long lasting. It could be the color that I have. Sometimes that happens when I have like a more subtle color. This color is a lot more muted, so that could be affecting my review on this. Keep that in mind. But in terms of the color that I have here, it's not really that sticky at all. There's a really slight sheen that is easy to rub away, so if you're just talking, that shine is going to go away. And the stain is not that strong or opaque at all. It's very easy to wipe away. It's not the most long-lasting stain. So I would say the Peripera Water Bear tint is best if you want something very subtle and you don't really care about longevity, but it's worse if you want something that has longevity, that has color and has power to it. I would pass on this if that's what you're looking for, but if you want more of a natural lip, kind of like a My Lips but better, you can't really tell if it's there, and you're okay with it fading off throughout the day, Peripera Water Bear. Then we have the most underrated lip stain in my opinion. Well, they don't say it's a water tint, but to me it feels like a water tint. It's called their Glassy Layer Fixing Tint. It has a very similar texture to the Rom&nd water tint, and the shine is again that nice like oil shine. It's not very sticky at all or thick at all. The Lilybyred is best if you want something that is extremely lightweight on the lips and mainly just gives you a very long-lasting stain. There's almost no shine to this because it fades really quickly. I would say that this is worse if you are someone who wants dramatic gloss, glow, or subtle color. This has a lot of vibrant color options, and the stain is very long lasting, but there's almost no gloss to it. This is very, very similar to the Rom&nd water tint, so if you like that vibe, this is a cheaper version of that, except the color range is more vibrant and also limited. Lastly, the Tear water tints. This is what I have on my lips today paired with the lip liner. I do have a specific way that I like to apply lip tints. If you want me to show you, let me know in the comments below. Also, a note, I did get this gifted to me in PR, but obviously they're not the sponsor of today's video. But the one I have on my lips right now is 04 with a lip liner around. As you can tell probably throughout the video, the shine kind of fades and I'm left with this stain on my lips. I don't find it to be trying at all. I can't tell what it smells like, but it doesn't smell like chemicals. It doesn't smell super fruity, it doesn't smell like vanilla. If anything, it's slightly fresh fruit. That's kind of the vibe that I get from the scent. It's not strong, so it's not off-putting. This is a creamier water gel texture in comparison to all the other water tints that I shared with you. I think this actually leans more like the Rom&nd finish than a typical water tint. So I don't understand the name completely, but I do think it's because the shine doesn't last as long as a gel tint like the Etude. Tear is personally one of my favorites because they have the most, I think, out of all of these color options with so much nuance to it. So if you are on the search for a very specific color, Tear will probably have it. They even have shimmering options as well. The only worst aspect I can think of for the Tear is the fact that there's too many color options and it might overwhelm you. So it'll be difficult to choose which one you're gonna like. But they do have a color chart. So if you know your color season, pick upon, you know, the color season that you feel most drawn to or that you feel that you fit into, because then you'll have an easier time making a decision. I will also say, again, with all the other water tints, it's the worst for gloss. So the shine's not gonna last that long. It's on my lips right now. It faded within the first hour. I would probably have to add lip gloss on top if I wanted more shine, but the stain is impeccable. All right, quick recap in case you're still overwhelmed and confused and you don't know which one to choose because they're all so similar. At the end of the day, they are very similar. They perform very similarly. The textures are very similar, and I would make a decision based on a particular color that you're looking for. I group the Laka, the Peripera, the Wakemake, Rom&nd, and Colorgram as all very similar formulas and textures. There are nuances to them, but it's not noticeable at all. So hopefully by now you have decided which lip tint is best for you, and if you're watching just for the sake of entertainment, thank you for being here. Again, yesstyle will be having Black Friday sales all throughout the month of November, including some of the brands, or actually probably all of the brands that I've mentioned in today's video. So definitely check them out. On top of the sale, you can use the code LQ12 to get 12% off of $59 or more. As always, I appreciate your love and support, especially those of you who watch every single video or use my links that I share with y'all. It supports me and it supports the channel. But I'm gonna go now, so I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!